Observe the night sky long enough, and the fixed order begins to move. Certain stars will appear to retreat, slipping backward into the dark before resuming their course. It is a precise, recurring cycle of orbital mechanics. In 7th century Mecca, these same stars served as the backdrop for a severe intellectual conflict. While the Meccan elite accused the Prophet Muhammad of madness and demonic influence, Surah At-Takwīr was revealed to provide a systematic defense against those claims. The text moves beyond a simple exchange of theological threats. It builds its case around the technical reality of wahy, divine revelation, treating the transmission of the message as an event that can be verified through observation and logic. To establish the credibility of the unseen, the Quran points to the visible architecture of the cosmos, the movement of the stars, the transition of the night, and the arrival of the dawn. The surah follows a strict chain of evidence. It begins with the physics of the natural world, moves to the attributes of the celestial messenger, and concludes with the character of the terrestrial receiver. This progression eventually addresses a foundational theological tension, the relationship between an individual's free will and the overarching will of the Creator. By weaving together astronomy, Arabic morphology, and epistemology, the text transforms a religious assertion into a unified structural argument for the authenticity of the revelation. The argument opens with a series of cosmic oaths, calling upon the retreating stars and the deepening shadows of the night as witnesses. In verse 17, the text employs a highly specific Arabic root to describe the arrival of the darkness. The word is as. It is composed of two identical syllables, as and as. This phonetic duplication creates a deliberate cadence. The sound itself mimics a slow, incremental progression, a rhythmic stepping into the void. This linguistic choice imbues the night with the qualities of a living entity. The darkness is not merely a lack of light, but something that seems to physically grope its way forward through the environment. This biological imagery is immediately contrasted in verse 18 with the description of the morning light. To describe the dawn, the text selects the word tanafus. The word literally translates to breathing. The text equates the expansion of light across the horizon to a respiratory cycle, as if the day is exhaling life back into the world. Standard language rarely synchronizes phonetic structure so closely with the sensory experience of a natural phenomenon. This symmetry suggests a shared origin between the laws of language and the laws of the natural world. It establishes the author's authority over both, providing the necessary foundation for the revelation that follows. Having established this authority, the focus shifts to the security of the transmission itself. To answer the claim that these words were the product of demonic whispers, the text details a secure two-node chain of custody. We can visualize this as a transmission matrix, with the celestial origin on the left and the terrestrial destination on the right. Verses 19 through 21 define the celestial messenger, Jibril, through three primary qualifications: high status, immense strength, and absolute reliability. The text emphasizes quwwah, or strength. Carrying a message from the proximity of the divine throne requires an entity with the structural power to sustain the weight of the revelation. He is further described as amin, trustworthy. In the higher realm, he is universally obeyed, ensuring that the message cannot be corrupted at the source. By establishing this fortified origin, the text removes the possibility of demonic interception. The transmission begins in a state of total security. The argument then moves to the endpoint, the human receiver Muhammad. The Meccan elite had labeled him possessed, but the text uses the audience's own history to challenge that label. Verse 22 calls him sahibukum, your companion. It forces the listeners to acknowledge their decades of direct experience with him. They knew his temperament, his sanity, and his integrity long before the revelation began. Verse 24 adds that he is not stingy with the ghaib, or the unseen. He functions as a transparent vessel, delivering the data exactly as it was received without modification. This secure, transparent process is the opposite of the cryptic, fragmentary secrets associated with fortune tellers or the possessed. The revelation is anchored by celestial authority at the start and terrestrial character at the finish. Within this framework, the accusation of madness becomes inconsistent with the listener's own observed reality. After securing the chain of evidence, verse 26 poses a final, direct question to the Meccans. So where are you going? This question marks a shift from evidence to accountability. Since the reliability of the source and the messenger has been established, the focus now turns to the intent of the listener. If the cosmic order is precise and the transmission is secure, then the truth of the message is no longer a matter of speculation, but of choice. Verse 28 clarifies that this message is a reminder for anyone who intends to take the straight path. Because the signs are so visible, straying from the path is presented as a deliberate act, an intentional decision to ignore the evidence provided. This introduces a fundamental question regarding agency. If a human has the power to choose their path, how does that choice coexist with the absolute sovereignty of the Creator? The concept of istiqamah, remaining upright on the path, requires an individual to exercise their will. Here, human agency is the deciding factor in aligning oneself with the truth. However, the surah concludes in verse 29 by stating, "And you do not will except that Allah wills." This statement contextualizes human agency. It clarifies that the power of choice does not exist in a vacuum outside the mechanics of the universe. The capacity to choose, ikhtiyar, is itself a specific faculty granted by the Creator. It is a mechanism designed to operate within His overarching will, not in opposition to it. Ultimately, true guidance lies in the realization that human free will is a function of a larger design. The linguistic rhythms, the secure transmission, and the individual's choice all operate within a single, unified system of divine will.